Hey guys, so in this video we're going to be talking about phototropism and photoperiodism. Now these are two very different processes, but they're important in plants as living organisms. So first of all, what is a tropism? Now this is just a type of growth of a plant away or towards a stimulus. Now thigmotropisms are when a plant responds to growing away or towards a touch. Geotropisms is gravity. And phototropisms, of course, is light. Photo meaning light. So let's see if we can check out some of these thigmotropisms here in this video. All right, so if I can move this over to you guys, we're going to check out a particular plant that has a very interesting thigmotropism. All right, let's see. This will probably be pretty good. All right, so we have an individual here touching the plant, and then the leaves are actually going to respond to touch by growing away from the touch in protection of the plant. Pretty cool. All right, so back to our slides. Oops, wrong way. Okay. Here we go. Turning that sound off. All right, so phototropins, oops, too fast. Phototropins are the main photoreceptor responsible for light detection. And auxin is the plant hormone that promotes cell elongation, causing the plant to bend in the direction of the light source. And remember we talked about those kind of things when we were looking at this practice question from an old AP exam. Remember there were several experiments that were done to see if the plant would continue to bend to the light signal. And plants respond to stimuli through signal transduction pathways just like other organisms, animals do. And of course it involves reception, transduction, and response. So what happens is the receptor is activated. In this case, we're talking about the photoreceptor phototropin, or a type of phototropin, and then there's a conformational change in whatever protein, and then we have a secondary messenger like cyclic AMP or cyclic GMP that goes and triggers the signal transduction cascade of events. And remember that when we had an impermeable barrier to the rest of our plant, that auxin or whatever protein was going to cause the actual change in movement or in whether or not the plant was going to bend toward the light or not, it couldn't get through that impermeable barrier because the diffusion didn't happen, and then we're not going to see the plant behavior like we would expect. All right, let's talk about photoperiodism. So photoperiodism is a response in change of length of the night. So the response in change of light that the plant is exposed to. And we're going to talk about photoperiods here. So this is going to result in flowering in long day and short day plants, and of course preparation for winter. We're going to talk about why the leaves change their color. Okay. So photoperiodism, sometimes the plants require particular day or night lengths in order to flower. That is to transition into the reproductive phase of their life cycle, and this is triggered by these photoperiods. So plants that flower only when the day length drops below a certain threshold are called short day plants, and rice is an example of a short day plant. And plants that flower only when day length rises above a certain threshold are called long day plants. We looked at experimental data based on this already. So spinach and sugar beets are examples of long day plants. And of course, these are the flowering mechanisms. So the light is going to trigger when these plants are going to go into their certain reproductive state. Okay, again, to review, short day plants flower only when day length is below a certain threshold, so if like less than 6 hours, for example, of daylight. And so overall, they're going to need more darkness in general. Long day plants, as you would assume, are going to flower when the day length is above a certain threshold, and they need less darkness. But it's actually the amount of darkness that is going to trigger that flowering. It's not the amount of light, which might be counterintuitive. Now, when we're doing experiments, we've noticed that red light is going to break the night stimulus in our certain plants, and far red light is going to reverse that night stimulus breakage. So it's going to reinitiate the night stimulus. So again, far red light and red light are both on our wavelength of color spectrum, but they're two different types, and they're going to reverse this particular response. Okay, back to our big question, which you probably already figured out. Why do leaves change colors in the fall? So this is all about photoperiodism. So the change in a photoperiod, which is the amount of light and dark in a day, is going to trigger the response of leaves in a plant. And what happens is there's a lot of proteins going on. They're going to start to break down the cells that are involved in producing, and the cells involved in photosynthesis, so our chlorophyll, and which is embedded in the chloroplast, and then those cells that contain lots of chloroplast will start to die, and what we'll have is a very long chain of events that eventually lead to the weight of the leaf becoming too big and it'll fall off the tree. But it does this specifically in response to the amount of light. So this is going to happen as our seasons change and we get less light or less daylight length, and that's why